Hello, this is Jessica, and welcome to an overview of 2020 for your Zodiac sign. You can listen to this ongoing throughout the rest of 2020 just to put everything in perspective and get a better sense of the whole of the year rather than just focusing always on one day or 1 week or 1 month. Having this sort of backdrop to the whole year is really useful, and it's actually how astrology works because it is basically about slow time. So there's a lot here in 2020 for you to look out for yourself and the people in your household, your family, your circle of friends, or your colleagues. As you can hear from my accent, I'm half British and half Australian. And back in the good old days, I used to spend about half the year in both countries. Now, the night sky is obviously completely different according to where you are on the earth. But in astrology, we work with a fixed system or a fixed set of patterns which we can apply to your sign and to your life. So 2020 is about the financial revolution. And if you're an Aries or a Libra, or you know somebody who is, it's personal. Uranus in Taurus is about accepting new and radically different ways to operate with money, with shopping, with business, charity, houses, or apartments. It's one of those basically very long cycles, to put it politely, which you'll get accustomed to as you go through the next few years, all the way to 2025. Now, Aries and Libra people couldn't be more different, but they are both experiencing Uranus, the planet of freedom, liberation, excitement, exhilaration, and independence, in the houses of their horoscope that rule the money go round. So if these signs are around you, or if you are born under these signs, the time has come to farewell the past. Forget about life as it was before May 2018, because that's when this cycle began. And try to accept that you are now required to bend and flex and stretch. And the more that you can do that, particularly on a week-by-week basis, the more free you will be. In fact, 2020 and the years that follow will liberate you from people, situations, or circumstances that restricted and confined you more than you perhaps ever knew. So that's the backdrop to the year for those two signs. Now, Taurus is in the middle of it because Uranus is in Taurus. And so people born under this sign around you are at liberty this year to radically alter the way that they think about image, how they present and package and profile themselves. And this is extremely important if you're a Scorpio who is involved with a Taurus, because the pair of you have to look at the me within the we equation, or the me with the us in the equation. The two of you, or just the one of you, go through patterns this year designed to shake up old ways of thinking. So if you do know a Taurus and or a Scorpio, or you are a Taurus person, it's time to think about new ways to be who you are. If you're a Gemini person or a Sagittarius, the opposite sign, then you two are right in the heart of karma this year, because from May 2020 right into 2021, the nodes, which represent karma and past lives, will go into Gemini and Sagittarius. So whether these two signs are connected in your life or not, whether you are a Gemini around a Sagittarius or vice versa or not, there are still patterns here that are worth knowing about. When I talk about karma, I'm talking about life as it was 19 years ago with a former, current, or potential partner in love or work. And it gets better than that. You can then go back another 19 years and another 19 years before that. So if 2020 or 2021 seems to you to be very much about the other person, the other half, the other scale on your set of scales, you're absolutely right. And what this year is very much about for Gemini or Sagittarius people, whether they're involved with each other or not, is closure. Trying to get to settlement, wholeness, balance, and symmetry between the two of you. And this could extend into past lives, because in astrology, the nodes work backwards in time pretty much forever. In fact, this cycle is so famous, it's known to the Indians as the Rahu and Ketu cycle, of karma, and we think they probably knew about it at Stonehenge. The Aubrey holes are eclipse predictors, and the node cycle is very much tied to those. We now move to Cancer, the crab, the sign which rules home, family, town, and country, a sense of belonging. Now, your whole year, Cancerians, is dominated by weather in your opposite sign of Capricorn. And again, we're talking about the person on the other end of the scales. This may be in work or love. It may be your former, current, or potential partner. But with Jupiter and Pluto in your opposite sign of Capricorn all year, this can be made to work in powerful new ways which overcome many of the issues of the past. This is true too if you know a Cancerian person in your life, that this sign above all of them has been put through the mill for a very long time because of the cycles of time in their opposite sign of Capricorn. Yet in 2020, there is an incredible chance here for Cancer the Crab to sort things out once and for all with this person who matters so much. Now, Leo the Lion is in an interesting position, also with partners, former partners or potential partners in 2020 and 2021, because of the new Aquarius traffic that's coming in. So as we get towards the middle of the zodiac signs, we find that they're all experiencing the same sort of soundtrack, but with different music. Now, for you in 2020, the challenge is to find practical and sensible ways to make yourself feel secure about this person or through them or with them. However, wonderful news at Christmas 2020, Leo, because Jupiter moves into your opposite sign then, and the gates are open for 2021 to be an astonishing year of breakthroughs, resolutions, opportunities involving at least one other person in your duet. And this applies, again, to Leos in your world as well. They do call Jupiter the problem solver, but they also call him the door opener. And he is right across your chart in 2021, and the build up to that is 2020. Virgo. Of all the signs, you are most suited to the times as we deal with all these new health and fitness concerns, these questions about lifestyle and work, housework, gardening, cleaning, and having a lifestyle that means you still get to have a life. Now, if you're born with the sun in Virgo, you automatically have the sun in the 6th house of your horoscope. So after you finish listening to this, do look up the 6th house on my website, because this is the house in astrological language that you reside in. And the 6th house is very much about the tiny details of your day-to-day existence. From the moment that you wake up and brush your teeth and have a shower or bath to the moment that you go to bed. In 2020, as we see all these cycles moving through Aquarius, which rules the 6th house in your solar chart, you are going to need to do what works. You are an earth sign, practical, grounded, no nonsense. And if ever there was a year to find out tried, tested and trusted formula to get through the day, it's 2020. Again, though, with Jupiter changing signs at Christmas, you're in for the most astonishing 2021, when all the work that you did this year on housework, unpaid work or work pays off, and all the work that you did on your body, the mind-body-spirit connection, also takes you higher next year. I've mentioned Libra together with Aries earlier in this podcast. I've mentioned Scorpio briefly in connection with the sign of Taurus, but what about you, Scorpio, by yourself? Okay, so for you, the focus in 2020 is the internet. Your relationship with the internet has been extremely pressured and rather intense for many years. But in 2020, your ruler Pluto is joined by Jupiter, the planet of solutions and opportunities. So even though you're naturally spending more time at home this year, if ever there was a year to finally sort out the World Wide Web for you at last, once and for all, it's 2020. As you move into 2021, you'll feel a sense of that was then, this is now, as you complete this key communication cycle. Sagittarius, I did mention you paired with Gemini as your opposite signs, But for your own reference, your ruling planet Jupiter is now in your financial zone for the first time in 12 years. Right up until December, you have an unparalleled opportunity to eradicate long-standing issues that you may have with finance, business, self-worth or self-value, which translates into money, property, philanthropy, and so on. In fact, 2020 is a turning point as Pluto and Jupiter are in the same sign at the same time, and that's Capricorn, which rules the material world. Everything that you need to solve, fix, expand, even optimize or make more of is now in front of you. It is a very good year for you to be an opportunist. Now, Capricorn, I mentioned the Capricorn weather, and of course it's in your sign. All these matters of image and presentation and profile, particularly with the internet, that have been swirling around you for years, are subsiding for 2021. In fact, everything that you soldiered on through or learned the hard way in recent years pays off in 2020 as you capitalise on your image, your profile. It may be the face that you present on Twitter, or it may be how you appear to the world. Perhaps you're thinking about new ways to sell yourself or show yourself to the world. New wardrobe that you sew yourself at home, doing your own haircuts. All these things are possible when we see this sort of weather in your sign. But the real story is financial, and you don't need an astrologer to tell you that. You are in a big learning cycle in 2020 financially, Capricorn, but everything that you learn pays off in the fullest meaning of the word in 2021 when Jupiter goes into your second house of values, valuables, and money. If you know a Capricorn in your world, then this is the year that you need to give them as much time and space as possible as they work their way through the lessons of money. Now, Aquarius, you are the sign of the moment, okay? So deep breath. You are now experiencing Saturn in Aquarius for the first time in 29 years. As you go closer towards Christmas, Jupiter will also move towards Aquarius. And by the time you get to New Year 2021, you are in this astonishing position of having two of these major slow-moving outer planets in your sign. This is a relaunch. It's a rebirth and a renaissance. You get there the hard way because Saturn is very demanding as a cycle and it's quite slow. So 2020 requires a lot of pacing of yourself. It's not just about your reputation or your name or your title or your brand. It's about how you look physically and how you appear physically. And that might be because you've decided to take on something like yoga at home, or it may be because you're focused on relaunching yourself or rebranding yourself out there. In any case, it gets better in slow stages, easier, in other words. And the more learning that you do now, the better off you are in image terms next year. And this is true for every Aquarius that you know. Pisces is the 12th sign of the Zodiac, and it is the sign that is currently being transited by Neptune, also the ruler of Pisces. If that all sounds a bit watery and a bit oceanic, you're quite correct. Pisces, of course, the two fish swimming in opposite directions, Neptune represented by the ocean and the sea. This feeling of escapism, floating, drifting and cruising is part of who you are anyway. But in 2020, it becomes terribly important for you to find an escape route. In fact, you may need more than one and more than once a day. This brings us to areas like meditation, the inner life and the inner world. And although you've been in and out of this for some years now, Pisces, in 2020, as Neptune goes through Pisces, making incredible patterns to other planets, it's certainly time to appreciate the diary, the journal, religion perhaps, your spirituality, meditation, something more mysterious that you can't even put words for. We associate this cycle with what is felt on an internal level, the soul or the spirit, the part of you that dreams, the part of you that knows there's something more to life. Your sixth sense, not your five senses. Now, the key to all this, of course, as you know, being a Pisces is to stay grounded. So no matter how far you go in your inner realm in 2020 and into 2021 as well, it is the inner life that does best when it's grounded on Mother Earth, So if nothing else, try and get your feet on solid ground at least once a day and go for a good grounding walk. Having said that, this is a year of inner discovery for you, Pisces, and all those people who are listening who know a Pisces should give them as much time and space as they require, because in 2020, the Do Not Disturb sign is definitely on the door. I hope that's helped to put the 12 signs in perspective for you this year, 2020, and into 2021 as well. You can always tune into your daily horoscope here, of course, at jessicaadams.com, or use some of the other free resources that we have for you. I hope that you've enjoyed listening, and do tell your friends.